Field. Carter. Cooper Surma.
Here.
Elixon Andrews.
Here.
Ghosh.
Here.
Cluding, yeah. Vandervenen.
Present. Thank you. With that, could I get an approval of the agenda for tonight? We have 2 items, 2 public hearings.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously. To help out Maddie here, let's see, so who initiated that? Let's help her out here. By Elixon Andrews, second by Cluding. Thank you.
And if you need to do first names, you can probably do that too, just for.
Yeah, if you want first names or last name, we'll help you out here. No problem. With that, please review the meeting minutes from May 21, 2026. And if there's no issues, please someone make a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that was motion by Blaine, and then Justin, second. With that, we'll move to our first public hearing, request to rezone parcel from rural residential to R1, which is low-density, single-family residential. Applicant and property owner Woods Builders Homes Incorporated with David Woods at 60 Ada Hills Drive Northeast. If the applicant or representative would like to come forward, please state your name if you are not David Woods and who you represent.
Hello, my name is Adam Feenstra with Feenstra & Associates. I'm the engineer who's working with Dave Woods, who's right over there for this project. We do appreciate the time that staff took to review this and your time here tonight. I think the most important factor to consider in this rezone is the Township's 2023 master plan. On page 1 of the master plan, we get a definition, and it says the master plan, also known as a comprehensive plan or land use plan, is a policy document designed to guide a community's growth and development. It presents a vision for the future with long-range goals and objectives to manage change over a 20-year planning period. A master plan is critically important as it serves as the foundation of Ada's zoning ordinance and guides where and how development occurs. Later on in that document in chapter 10, it also states that this master plan and its future land use map are powerful expressions of Ada's Township's intentions for the future. Once it is adopted, it serves as the guide for growth for the Township Board, Planning Commission, and staff. The plan is a statement of policy, whereas the zoning ordinance is law. The primary difference between the two is timing. The master plan shows the intended future land use at the end of a 20-year planning period and provides the logic for zoning regulations. Zoning affects development projects that come into the door today. So in the master plan, this property is designated as neighborhood residential. The master plan defines neighborhood residential as follows. Neighborhood residential land use category intends to enhance residential neighborhoods located in areas of extensive existing infrastructure while encouraging the gentle increase in housing types within these areas. This land use category intends to further the township's goal of accommodating housing in appropriate locations and creating neighborhoods that can accommodate the housing needs of Ada residents. As a reference, I also have the master plan definition for rural residential. The rural residential land use category intends to further the township vision of a large lot residential development in areas with abundant natural features such as wetlands, floodplains, steep slopes, and woodlands, and limited infrastructure. Residential parcels in this category are to be shielded from streets by natural vegetation and should retain the existing natural forest landscape. Low-volume streets should remain unpaved to preserve the rural nature of the land use category. Now, the master plan, also in the document, recommends combining the R4 to R1 zoning districts in a single district to, quote, reflect the recommendation of the neighborhoods character area. This, to me, makes it very obvious that R1 in the zoning ordinance is intended to fall under the neighborhood residential master plan designation. Now, the zoning ordinance description and purpose of R1 states that this district is established with the intention of limiting certain portions of the township exclusively for low-density, single-family dwellings, particularly those areas which will not be served with urban-type services, and consequently will require the provision of complete on-site services. Certain complementary religious, educational, and recreational facilities may also be permitted as special land uses in this district. So that's a lot of background on definitions and things in the master plan. Now, on the staff memo related to this request, it calls out this proposal as spot zoning. I did a little bit of looking, and according to the Michigan State University Extension, in an article titled How to Spot Zoning that they published in April 13 of 2023, they say spot zoning is not easily defined and identified, though generally, to be considered a spot zone, the circumstances in question must satisfy the four following criteria. 1, the area is small compared to the district surrounding the parcel in question. 2, the new district allows land uses inconsistent with those allowed in the vicinity. 3, the spot zone would confer a special benefit on the individual property owner not commonly enjoyed by owners of similar property. And 4, the existence of the spot zone conflicts with the policies and the text of the master plan and future land use map. That article also references a January 2004 public policy brief, which goes into detail on several related rezone court cases in the state of Michigan. Within this text, they state, quote, "The single best piece of advice for local governments in the general arena of land use is also the best advice for avoiding spot zoning problems. Make plans, period. Make decisions that are consistent with plans." The master plan is the guiding document here. In their summary of that 2004 public policy brief, they actually kind of outline how to spot zoning. So they say spot zoning does describe a situation that by its very nature draws closer scrutiny to the actions of the zoning authority. However, rather than define different rules for determining the legality of a particular spot zoning situation, a more appropriate approach is to analyze such cases under traditional analyses of zoning validity. If you are charged with making land use decisions on behalf of your community and a claim of spot zoning is raised, you should run through the following list of considerations. Is the spot zoning in question small and discrete compared to the surrounding area? Does the spot involve one landowner or one parcel? Is the spot, whether on the map, as initially adopted or requested for rezoning, a use inconsistent with the surrounding zoning districts? Now, obviously, we do fall under those categories, and it further says, if some or all of these characteristics are present, the court will give greater scrutiny to the decision of your local government, which means, yes, you should be looking at things more closely if it meets those characteristics. It says then you should consider how would you be able to answer the following questions related to the requested use. Number 1, is the requested use consistent with your master plan map? Does the plan's text present justifications for this use in this location? Number 2, in the absence of a master plan, it gives a bunch of things, but obviously we have a master plan, so we don't need to consider number 2. And number 3, would denial of the request, i.e. refusal to create a spot, preclude the property's use for any purposes to which it is reasonably adapted? And then it says if you can answer yes to 1 or 2 and no to number 3, then you have successfully removed any legitimate claim of illegal spot zoning. I think we can safely say that we answer yes to 1 and that we would answer no to 3 because we can use the property for its intended purposes as it currently sits. I think all of the above evidence shows that our request cannot be considered spot zoning. The staff memo also brings up the unique layout of this lot, specifically within this little development here, and they call out the assurances from the original developer to quote, that this lot would be developed according to the applicable requirements. I will say that we have not submitted any site plans yet, but I can assure you that we are not seeking any variances from the R1 district requirements or any of the other requirements in the zoning ordinance. We're not asking for special treatment here. We're just trying to get it to rezoned to what the master plan is asking for. If for some reason something comes up that the health department won't approve a drain field, or we can't meet certain setbacks, or we can't meet something else in the zoning ordinance, then the rezone to R1 will not allow us to build 2 separate houses and not allow us to split the lot. It's that simple. We're not going for special treatment here. The staff memo also calls out the neighboring 1 acre or less, in some cases, lots that to the east as non-conforming. This is correct since they don't meet the requirements of the current zoning ordinance, but I'd say that these lots are one of the primary reasons this entire area was called out in the master plan for neighborhood residential. The character of the area overall does not match the rural residential. This was recognized in the master plan, and our call out of those neighboring properties in our little submitted memo was to exemplify why this area was really designated for neighborhood residential as a land use. In fact, I'd go so far as to argue that the township staff should initiate a rezone of the neighboring properties from RR to R1. This would reduce or eliminate their non-conforming lot status and bring them in harmony to the master plan. Staff said that the goal of community planning is to progress towards increased conformity. I will agree with that. They said increased conformity to the current standards. I would say increase conformity to the planned standards. The last thing staff notes in the report is a lack of public infrastructure in this area as a reason to deny the rezone request. This is despite the fact that, as previously stated, the R1 zoning is specifically called out for those areas which will not be served by urban-type services and consequently will require the provisions of on-site services. I think that covers everything that's in the staff memo as to why they were requesting the denial, and I think that, at least in my head, is a pretty convincing argument why we're asking to bring the lot in conformity to what you guys 3 years ago said is what you want in this area. And that's where I'll leave off. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's the most citing of the master plan from an applicant since I've been here, so I appreciate that. John, would like to give staff comments on this one?
Certainly, happy to do so. This is a location that is zoned RR, rural residential. The entire area is zoned rural residential. As to the master plan and the indications provided by Mr. Feenstra, I think we have to keep in mind that the master plan, as well as the zoning ordinance, is a living, breathing document. In fact, we have had conversation internally, we have had no opportunity to get to it, that this area should be redesignated down, if you will, on the master plan and should not remain as a land use designation that would result in higher density. Because of the land use patterns here, because of the utilities in this location, or the lack of infrastructure, I should say, the lack of utilities and lot sizes and those kinds of things. So from a staff perspective, Those are, I think, big issues to consider, along with the zoning. The zoning is township law. It is township law. And we have to understand that we are dealing with a lack of infrastructure, and we are dealing with land use patterns. And when we are talking about, as an example, the adjacent properties that were developed presumably before the minimum lot sizes that we now have in the rural residential were established, we should not be reinforcing those. We should not be moving in a direction that reinforces non-compliance, if you will, with surrounding land uses and with land uses in the area and lot sizes in the area. Mr. Feenstra mentioned a couple of things as well. He talked about the fact that spot zoning, and I think a lot of this too is theory, right? We all have theory about what's appropriate and what's not in its interpretation. But when you look at the comments that he made about spot zoning, it is beneficial to one owner only. That there is a special benefit associated with it, because this would result in the possibility, and obviously the intent here is to try to construct 2 homes in a location where there is 1 lot or 1 home. We understand that the property is divided, if you will, a portion of it by this connecting road. We had extensive conversations with the developer when this property was first developed, probably 3 years ago or so. And that also was at a time prior to completion of the master plan, I might mention. Excuse me.
Can you touch on that, John? Were you part of the developer who divided all of these parcels in here?
Just this little area here.
Just Ada Hills.
The Ada Hills area where you have.
Why was the left side of this L, like why would you make a lot that spans both sides of the private drive?
That was the only way that they could provide access that was halfway between Taos Avenue and the street to the east. The separation, I'm sorry?
Acreage too.
And to provide that
Well, no, because
necessary.
it's, you have the lot to the north, Mr. Baker there's got 2 acres, you got this lot 3.19, why wouldn't you chop off your dog leg 1 acre and put it on Mr. Baker's lot, and they're both compliant, and then you're not splitting?
I'm wondering, is that a separate parcel from what was previously owned?
Who's Mr. Baker?
The house to the north,
Just to the north?
Yeah,
Right.
that wasn't part of
That's
that.
not part of this development.
it's not, oh, okay,
So that kind of changes the dynamic. So
Okay.
the developer at that time, I think it was Engelsma,
okay.
was operating within
So is Anglesma just this lot and the lot to the north side then, the one that looks like a sand pit?
There's
2 or 3
north.
lots.
There's
2?
2 lots north of this lot.
Okay.
So-
And just to let you know how this was originally configured, did have that.
Okay, I see it, yeah, there's 2 houses back there.
So
Did have that, what do you want to call it, the extra,
the extra leg.
the extra leg, that was always part of the parcel, the original parcel, that was its irregular shape.
Right.
And I believe at one time, and now I mentioned who is Mr. Baker, but I believe the Bakers are here, and we've dealt with them in the past. And I think at one time was our understanding is they were maybe going to buy that portion at one time
Okay.
when the developer initially came in. That was my understanding, to kind of clean things up, because we really wanted this cleaned up.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to understand why the township even allowed this lot to be constructed in this way.
Absolutely, it's a fair question, and for better or for worse, we don't have a regulation
Right.
that prohibits access easements from going through the middle of properties. So at the time that it was developed, we specifically identified this concern to Engelsma. We said, this is a very unusual lot. We cannot prevent it, but we are telling you that it's just goes against good planning principles.
Right.
We see a concern with this going forward, that, something weird would happen or somebody might come back. They assured us, they met with us and said, or told us, don't worry, it will be fine, nothing's going to happen, this will be developed as 1 lot, you don't have to worry about a thing.
Okay.
Was basically their assertion to us. They said, we will develop this as 1 lot, and because as you look at it, the main portion of the lot is where where it makes sense to develop a home, when you think about setbacks and these kinds of things. And we have to keep that in mind as well, because that skinny leg doesn't really lend itself to a really good home development just because of the unusual shape. So essentially what you're dealing with here is a self-created problem. It's a self-created problem that I don't know if Mr. Woods currently has a contract to purchase this property from Engelsma or already has, but Mr. Woods has indicated to us, well, I'm just gonna give it a shot. I'm just gonna try to see if I can get this rezoned. So that's a concern from our perspective, that this is something where there would be special benefit because you would have 2 lots created, let alone the fact that you would have an isolated zoning district with no other R1 around it anywhere. You'd have 2 lots existing in isolation from anything else. Any other zoning district, from any other connection to any R1 district at all. You would not have that. And in reality, we don't even have any other R1 property anywhere in the township. There's no
I looked at the map, I couldn't find any.
There is none. There is none.
Because we're eliminating the whole district, correct?
That is correct.
We are
We're
eliminating.
planning on it.
Yeah,
Right.
we are eliminating that district, but that, to me, is not really a reason to deny this. To me, it's all the other things, why staff does not support this. So those are the factors, I think the most important things that we would offer in consideration of this, and our recommendation to deny.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because I did want to touch on, we've talked about the zoning rewrite, which I'm on the steering committee for that as well. And just so the planning commission's aligned, one of the things we are talking about and working on is increasing lot size north of Fulton, not decreasing it. So this would go against future master plan, future zoning. As far as the definition of rural residential here, further the township's land lot, residential development with abundant natural features, wetlands. If I look at this parcel on a map through Mr. Wood's property, there is a stream that runs south to north through it. So it does have some wet portion. Floodplains, steep slopes. Again, if I look at Mr. Baker's lot, I see a 40-foot elevation delta. I would say it qualifies as that as well. And should retain existing natural forest landscape, which we see in the back here. It should be shielded from the street by natural vegetation. Well, this lot would be right along Fulton and have to take a lot of that vegetation down. In addition, rural residential is also defined as lacking utilities, which this lot does lack utilities. So to me, it absolutely meets all the requirements of rural residential. I absolutely understand Mr. Veenstra's points that it could meet R1 as well. Like you said, John, we don't have any houses that are zoned R1, so we are eliminated. We're consolidating a lot of the zoning districts with the steering committee rewrite. It'd be hard for me to add a house to a zoning district that will likely be eliminated this year. Also, to go on the spot zoning, John, are you aware of any rural residential properties that have been rezoned to anything in your time here?
I am not.
Okay.
I am not.
Okay.
And one other point, Rob, that I might make is, this is mentioned in the staff report as well, is oftentimes we have to deal with precedent.
Correct.
The applicant talked about precedent. Hey, the lots to the east have smaller lot sizes, and so forth. The concern that we talk about, as the commission knows, because we brought it up a number of times, is when decisions are made, that does establish a precedent for future possible decisions. In this particular instance, it could establish a precedent, and from a staff perspective, that would be problematic, a precedent where other future zoning requests are submitted that are on an isolated basis, that are standalone properties, where there is no other zoning district around it for the reason of, pursuing lot size differences or so forth or so on. So that's kind of what we're talking about here.
That's really my question of the precedent. I am not aware of us approving a zoning change ever,
Right.
any district. Would that, am I missing one? I'm not aware.
I mean, we have had some rezonings.
But have they made sense based on, I guess that's the
It
question.
wasn't
is-
a spot zone.
It was not an isolated zoning district, it was not.
Residential or industrial, commercial? Was that in like
Didn't we
the,
just do this last month with agriculture to,
That's
it was
one.
denied though?
it was the-
That's what I mean, it
one
was
where-
denied.
Yes,
right.
They actually ultimately withdrew it because you all, as a planning commission, were going to,
Right.
and I
Right.
see that one as similar to this one, where the goal, frankly, to be brutally honest, was to develop additional land, to put it out there to try to say, let's try to get as many houses on the property as we can. And honestly, that's what I'm seeing here. I don't see any other reason to try to rezone this other than
So,
it
tell me
creates an
this
additional-
though, let's say I buy this lot, I wanna put my house on it, okay, you don't let me rezone it, so I'm gonna put a massive pole barn on the left side there. Now, is that my front yard? Cause that's not allowed then.
Well, it would be probably considered a front yard.
Front
because
yard. Then Mr. Woods builds a house, sells it to someone, and then I get the homeowner here next month and they wanna put a pole barn, I would say no, cause that's the front yard.
Right.
But they can't. I mean,
Mistakes.
so in the ordinance, you're allowed to have a accessory building in the front yard. It just needs to meet certain criteria.
Right,
Site
strict,
plan
different
review.
criterias.
Yes, or the architectural, needs to match the architectural of the, style of the home.
And there are limitations on size of an accessory building on the basis of the lot size as well.
Right,
So that offers further limitations.
understood. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments from commissioners?
with respect to the applicant, we heard a lot about a defense to the staff report, but I didn't really hear what they were actually requesting us to do and why. It'd be nice to hear what they actually want to do other than disagreeing and reading our master plan to us, which I appreciate that you read it. I read it as well too, but usually we have applicants come up and say, this is what we are looking to achieve here, and here's what we're looking to develop, and I don't know if anyone else heard that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It was a good defense, I will say, but it wasn't, this is why we're doing this, other than just to build more houses, which it didn't even say that.
Do we want to give them the opportunity to speak to that now?
Yeah, if you want to come forward, if you would like to stay,
Just in fairness.
yeah. To address Justin's question here.
But just bluntly, like, what are you looking to do?
I mean, we're looking, right now, the only request before you is a rezone to R1.
Why though?
Why?
Ultimately, we would like to divide the lot.
Why?
There are other considerations as to,
Why?
if we can.
Divide the lot right now. Nothing's preventing you from dividing the lot.
Dividing the lot?
You can divide the lot right now.
We can divide the lot.
No,
we
Why
can't.
not?
because it would not meet minimum lot size.
Okay.
You know,
Requirement.
You can't even, all right, yeah, because you can't develop it. You're right.
That's the issue, is lot size. So, so yes, it seems to us that we are talking about a proposal that ultimately would result in the development of two homes on the property.
He could sell it to someone who's touching it. Right?
They could, and
Right,
as
okay.
long as minimum lot sizes are met,
Right.
we have a 2-acre minimum lot
Yes,
size.
as long as he kept two, he could chop off that leg and give it to the neighbor to the left or the neighbor above.
If the remainder,
And then, as I mentioned earlier, that
Has
was
two.
the intention.
As long as you keep two.
you'd have to
If I
keep
might
it at
ask,
2 acres.
Yeah.
who was here 3 years ago when the master plan was updated?
From the planning commission?
From, or staff?
The question's irrelevant.
Well, you're all saying, well, we're gonna change the master plan. Well, the master plan was just changed 3 years ago. That's not that long.
It's
Now
irrelevant
to
the
come and say, well,
Right.
you say it's irrelevant, but that's your guiding document right now. Your guiding document right now
There is this,
says we want more houses in this area. And you're saying, no, we don't want
so
more
I'm
houses
gonna,
in
I'm
this
gonna
area.
tell you that there was a Ada Township survey that went out last year.
But that isn't in your guiding document.
that was related to the master plan had hundreds of responses. There were 91 comments. The number one comment by a landslide was there is too much development north of Fulton.
How
which
is that
is
not reflected in your master plan from 3 years ago?
I am on the
I
steering
would ask-
committee and adjusting that, and I would say, would you like to address Justin's question?
I already said, you know,
Okay, you can have it.
even the very request here is a
Right.
request to rezone to R1.
So you're looking to have ultimately, like in a perfect world, you're looking to have 2 homes on this property, right?
Yes.
So are there any other instances or something? I mean, it seems very clear where we're gonna head now, but just for the sake of your time and whatnot, and to ask the question, not to go down the weeds of master plans or definitions, because to his point, that's totally irrelevant. I just wanna focus on like, what are you trying to do? Maybe we can help you get there. Can we think of anything else of how we could maybe potentially increase density, help the applicant achieve their goal without doing it this way? You know, we have there's lots of ways to build.
And to clarify, Justin, I don't think you mean the master plan is irrelevant. That's not what you're saying.
No,
You're
I'm saying-
the question of who was here when it was written.
Yeah.
That point is irrelevant.
Correct,
We
thank you.
are a planning commission. The master plan is our guiding document.
Exactly. And right now, you're all talking about ignoring your guiding document because you don't want an additional house there.
No, I'm repeatedly asking the applicant to define what they're actually seeking approval for.
Right now, we have put in a request for a rezone to R1. That is what we are seeking right now. We are seeking nothing else at this moment. Nothing else should be considered at this moment other than our request to rezone to R1.
Okay,
Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you. You can sit down.
Couple of considerations as well. You know, the master plan is a living document. It is a policy document. The zoning ordinance is law. It is law. And while, you know, we talk about housing and wanting to, you know, allow for additional housing and so forth, the community has been very intentional about where that takes place. And that is locations such as here and adjacent neighborhoods in this part of the community where you have infrastructure, where you have water, where you have sewer, and those kinds of things that are especially important, water lines, sewer lines. So those considerations are pretty big ones as well. And again, I'll go back to the precedent, and Justin, you brought this up about the request from a month or two ago that we had to downzone, if you will, for lack of a better word, and you can say the word downzone, upzone, whatever, but ultimately it was a request. Modify to allow for more density from AGP to RP1. This, staff sees this as a similar type of request when you're talking about going from RR to R1.
And the point of asking the question was, we had a really healthy debate in that conversation, if we all remember, where we were very clear on where we were going, but also we were sympathetic to what the applicant's goal, what they were trying to achieve, and we worked really kind of hard to brainstorm on ways on how the applicant could potentially achieve the same goal just via a different path. So that was the conversation that I was attempting to engage in, but I have no interest in engaging in that anymore.
Understood. And in reality, I would also point out that the applicant comes into this eyes wide open. It's not, there is nothing secretive here where, you know, this is a single lot in the RR district to be developed with a single home on it. So this is you might say a self-imposed challenge or quote unquote hardship that the applicant has created by bringing this forward. This does not, you know, this is an effort to place burden, if you will, onto the township. But the applicant goes into this with eyes wide open. The applicant knows the zoning requirements, knows the minimum lot sizes, knows what's allowed at this location.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Question, Rob.
Blaine, yeah,
We kind of jumped into planning commission comments. Are we supposed to go to public
you
comment?
can, when we're done.
Okay.
I will.
Well, then, for the record, I will say that this feels very cut and dry to me, and I'm not supportive.
Thank you. Mr. Clooney?
Not sure that I have any comments at this point.
Okay. Santita?
I was wondering, is
the new ordinance going to view this zoning in a different light? Is there any forthcoming changes?
The RR zoning district, you mean?
Yeah.
There has been conversation at a conceptual level, and I think Rob alluded to it a little bit, was there is the possibility that the RR district might be combined with is it the RP2 district, I believe?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
And so that is that is a possibility. An additional consideration has been, as part of that,
Which is part of the master plan at the end.
correct, is
Combine
to
'em.
require higher minimum acreage in the RR district, to go from, it's currently a minimum of 2 acres, there is conversation about possibly increasing that to 3 acres. Now, that would ultimately be a conversation and a decision that would have to be made by the planning commission and ultimately the township board, because the township board will be the final say-so as to the zoning ordinance change. Now, having said all of that, obviously we've not talked about any of that in the staff report or in any of our comments, because that's a future possibility. We don't know. It's very nebulous, right?
Hypothetical, right?
I'm sorry?
It's a hypothetical. is what
Thank
I'm
you.
understanding.
Yeah, it's a better word maybe. So for me,
Yeah.
I'm just focused on what we have
Right.
here and now.
Yeah,
So the master plan suggests on page 86, our goal for future land use is to consider combining rural preservation 2 and rural residential, what this considers, to combine into one district, which would actually make the minimum requirement 3 acres. So this would further deviate from that.
And did the staff consider any conditional approvals or any conditions?
Like a
Yes.
conditional rezoning?
Yes.
You know, that was talked about with that last request as well. And the idea of a conditional rezoning, I think, is problematic as well, just
Okay.
because of the setting of a precedent where we have special conditions based on a single applicant's desires to develop the land with a second home. And so when you get into that kind of thing where it's we can leave it as RR if you allow us these conditions, we get into a lot of that kind of horse trading, for lack of a better phrase, where that gets to be challenging. And in my view also, it could be precedent setting where, hey, what were the conditions associated with this property and why we did a conditional rezoning? Why can we not apply them to this? Because I want to get more houses on my property, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
One thing I didn't maybe capture, one thing I thought I heard the applicant talk about in his discussion on the master plan was that this particular area was identified as a place where there was some desire under the master plan to have higher density neighborhoods. And I heard some rebuke, for lack of a better term, to that, but I'm not sure I've fully captured what the rebuke is. So if you could run that again past me. I understand that the master plan, while it is a guidance document, it's not binding, but that would be helpful to me to understand what the rebuke to the concern or the idea raised
Right.
by the applicant under the master plan, and if his characterization of the master plan is accurate in the staff's eyes.
Right. The master plan does identify that land use category for this area, along with areas to the south of Fulton. The challenge is one, from our perspective, that the characteristics in land use patterns north of Fulton and south of Fulton are quite a bit different. You don't have significant utility availability. Water and sewer is a huge issue, right? And when you don't have that, you do get into issues of things like water table. That may not be an issue now, but Ottawa County, ironically, even though it's adjacent to Lake Michigan, is experiencing significant water table issues because of unchecked development or relatively higher density development in areas where you only have wells. So that's a consideration. Overall, maybe not in this specific area, but in the remainder of the RR area, you also have some pretty significant topography changes, right? You think about moving along Grand River and Carl Drive in that area, and you have some significant topography issues that come into play. And trying to develop on smaller lots in those areas is challenging. So when you think about that, and Brent and I have talked about this for probably several years since the master plan was approved, we said we really should be considering, once we get the zoning ordinance completed, going back and updating the master plan. In fact, state law calls for every community to review its master plan every 5 years. Every 5 years to go back and either certify it as it is, recertify it as it is, or if you need to tweak it or do amendments, you can do that. And the township, even prior to the 2023 master plan, has had tweaks and updates and changes to its master plan over time. You know, maybe looking at an area here or an area there. So that history is there, and we believe that to be an appropriate thing as well. Thank you.
So with commissioner comments, I will proceed to the public hearing. So if anyone from the public wants to come forward and make comments, if so, please state your name and address.
Members of the Planning Commission, first of all, thank
If you could state your name, address first.
for your time. My name is Corey Baker, homeowner at 55 Ada Hills Drive. So the property just to the north of the east side of this lot here, as we look. So
West side, right?
or sorry,
You're on the west.
we're the very clear home right in the middle of the picture.
Okay.
So just north of that.
Yeah. So you're west of the lot, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
west
okay.
part of that lot.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you. So, and we've been here for 11 years. We've seen this property change drastically over the last several, not all to our liking, but understandably, as the master plan, at least how I read it, and I'm not gonna throw definitions or quote it to you, because I know you all are well aware. You know, that has come into play right next to us. And it's been for the better in so many ways, and we are where we are, and we're happy. This kind of rezoning, not only to us, but to the other residents surrounding this property, would be not only disruptive, but it's also concerning. And you've already, you know, gone at length into the master plan, and I've read it, but I have 5 kids and a busy day job, and I don't have the time to fine-tooth comb all of these things. But in my interpretation, as I've read through that, a couple of things stand out that are my concerns as a homeowner there, and my neighbors second these. So the first one, as was discussed, but just to hit on briefly for us, the disruption of the rural residential character that used to be present, that has now somewhat disappeared in that area, but that we would all like to bring back. You know, I would love to see, and my neighbors second this, planting more trees. With this property in limbo for the last several years, it has been difficult to really get a vision for how we want to do that. That's something, but this picture doesn't accurately, because it's old, show almost entirely all of the foliage in front of us, so to the south along Fulton of us, has been completely taken out. So now that Fulton corridor, which is mentioned in the master plan, is exposed not only to us, but we are exposed to it. And I think as you try to, at least this is my interpretation, protect that corridor, this would be problematic and a concern. So that's one. I do feel like in this regard, and my next point, it does conflict with the master plan. And I brought parts of it, but I feel like in the master plan, the language is actively discouraged, is how they determined and wrote in there for this kind of rezoning. I briefly mentioned already the Fulton corridor and the degradation of that. Allowing the rezoning to increase density here would exacerbate the negative impact that we're already feeling right there. And then lastly, something that's been the talk of both our direct neighbors and those in Rollingbrook, that our kids transcend, you know, both properties and neighborhoods, if you will, is just the increased traffic, that even adding more homes into that neighborhood beyond what it was designed and zoned. You know, you talked about I think it was Inglesma that probably put that initial proposal together to put it this way. you know, obviously, we're now looking at going beyond that initial vision of the design for the neighborhood and the zoning for the neighborhood, but are just somewhat general discomfort with more traffic in and out, more construction vehicles in and out. And so just the safety of the kids that come to and from in those areas and enjoy playing and being a part of those two parcels. So anyway, I actually talked more than I wanted to after the conversation that's already transpired. So in summary, for both myself and the surrounding residents, we would like to just put it on record that we oppose the rezoning in this area.
You stated you talked to surrounding residents. Can you just state names and addresses if you have them?
Yeah, so names would be, just to the west would be Dave Skirvin. To the north of us would be the Burgesses, the Canons, and then I don't know if it's relevant, but the neighbors in Rolling Brook, that we have friends with the neighborhoods come, the neighbor kids come. I know that, I know the kids well. But there's a couple of residents in that neighborhood also whose kids play in this area that I referenced was a concern for them also.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mr. Baker.
Thank you. And I don't know if this is a thing, but here's my statement anyway.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
I'll highlight the points here just so it's on public record. Key arguments against rezoning, 5 points: disruptive to the rural residential character. Number 2, direct conflict with the master plan. Number 3, degradation of the Fulton corridor. Number 4, diminished safety and functionality of the neighborhood. And from Mr. Baker, wasn't any other residences mentioned on that. I'll hand that to staff. Thank you, Mr. Baker.
I do believe if it's relevant that they're either being sent, I think they were planning to send them in. I know the Burgesses are out of town.
Thank you.
So.
Any other comments from the public? With that, we will close the public hearing. Any other comments from commissioners on this? No. With that, I recommend a motion on this one.
A bit of housekeeping, if I might.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, before
Yes.
we vote. So the applicant knows, and so everybody in the public knows, this would be a recommending vote because final review and action would be up to the township board. So the applicant has the right to continue that process if they wish to go forward to the township board. Or they could withdraw. It is their option to go forward if they wish to do so with whatever recommendation the planning commission may make.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to withdraw or move forward with a vote? Thank you.
Motion to recommend to the board denial of this request.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion suggested by Cluding, second by Alex and Andrews. Motion carries unanimously.
Bit of housekeeping. The next township board meeting is Monday, July 13th at 12 noon. It is a public meeting, so anybody can attend when this item would be coming to the township board.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move to our next item of the public hearing. Number 2 here, request for a special use permit for size and location of proposed accessory dwelling in the rural residential zoning district, 1019 Crampton Avenue. Applicant property owner Ryan Wasilewski.
Not too bad, not too bad. Ryan Wasilewski.
Wasilewski.
Yes.
Right.
So thanks all for taking some time. I'm hoping mine is going to be a lot quicker than the last one.
Try.
And to say I'm a little intimidated now after that is an understatement. But so I am hoping to get a special approval for building a pole barn a little bit larger than what the under 3 acres pole barn or lot sizes are allowed on my property. So I have a property that's 3.01 acres, convenient. But when you take out the private road, it brings it back down to 2.67. So then what that does, obviously there's a very black and white line there when it comes to the size of the pole barn that you can build on the property because it's under 3 acres as opposed to over. So my first request was to, see if I could get special approval to build a pole barn that is within the realms of an above the 3 acre property, but not within the realms of a below 3 acre property. And then as John and Brent have mentioned to me as well, just because of the way the private drive goes, even though if you stared at my house, it would look like it's on the side of my house, just the way that the road goes, it's probably going to be like considered in the front a little bit. So those are the two special exceptions that I was looking for. And I think maybe the best thing for me to do is kind of sit back and listen to any questions that you have, because that's pretty much as deep
Are you sure?
as I can get. Yeah, absolutely. I'm here for it.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. You can have a seat.
Okay, thank you.
John, you want to give staff comments on this one?
Certainly happy to do so. So, so the proposed accessory building, which is kind of a fancier or planner geek technical way of saying, shed, pole barn, storage building, whatever, 2,352 square feet. And Mr. Wazalewski was accurate in his definition or his terminology or numbers as to the lot size, right? So even though it has a little over 3 acres total lot size, when we're considering lot area, we have to remove the excess easements and so forth. And so that does reduce it down to about 2.67 acres, which is kind of brings up the necessity for the area issue of the size of this thing. And then we've got the height issue to deal with as well. Because the 3 acres is the kind of the threshold. Below 3 acres, you're allowed smaller sizes. Above 3 acres, you're allowed some larger sizes. In any event, but accessory buildings, if they are taller or bigger than allowed, our zoning ordinance currently allows for special uses for those as opposed to zoning variances. And the other thing is, as the resident mentioned, was this whole front yard issue. Yes, even though the accessory building is, as a straight north-south line, is no further forward than the house, when you look at the fact that the road angles up, that makes that front yard setback shorter or smaller, which technically then brings it into the front yard. So that's why we have what we have. The challenge here as well is, and perhaps the applicant can comment on this, we had talked a little bit about whether the accessory building was going to match the existing home. And the applicant indicated that he was going to try to match it as close as possible. So if you match the existing home in style and color and height, and not height, but in roof type and color and siding type and those types of things, you then only need site plan approval. So I've included the site plan criteria. However, if it does not match, it requires a special use. So I've included the special use criteria, but you also need the special use for the area of the building and the height of the building anyway. So perhaps we can have the applicant comment on that, or the planning commission can, as they look at both the home and the rendering for the accessory building.
You're saying there'd be potentially 3 special use requests, one for size, one for height, and one for style?
Yes, appearance, if you will. That's right.
So, I had a question right away, John. So, the ordinance says a maximum 1,200 square feet for a half acre to 3 acres. What's the size for greater than 3? Since he's 3.01 is what I...
4,000.
4,000, that's right.
4,000.
So that threshold is a pretty significant jump, if you will, when you go from under 3 acres to 3 acres and above.
So if he didn't include his easement, he could do 4,000.
Correct. He would not need a special use for that.
And what's the height that's allowed on over 3 acres?
14.
14.
Which he indicates would be 14, even though I think the drawing does indicate 15, he said there would be an adjustment to that to bring it to 14.
Okay.
But again, below 3 acres, or below, and I think or it's a size issue. No, I think it is the size of the property. size of the property. If you're below 3 acres, it's 10-foot maximum sidewall. If you're above 3 acres, it's 14 feet. So
Okay.
you have that threshold as well at the 3 acre mark.
Okay. Any other comments from staff?
No, other than, whether it's deemed by the planning commission to be a site plan review for the style aspect, if you will, or special use, as well as the other ones, staff does not have any objections to this. We have had similar types of projects. The size of the home, I should say the size of the property and so forth, seem appropriate and reasonable. We do not believe that any of the special use standards are violated. We believe that this is consistent with those, so on that basis, we are okay with the requests.
Thank you. Yeah, if I look at other houses in the area, I think like to the one to the south's got a pole barn, it's 3.07 acres. The one south of that has a pole barn, definitely bigger, and it's 3.07 acres. The house south of that has 2 pole barns and is 3.4 acres, so it seems consistent with the area. I don't have any issues.
Public comment, and then
I want you guys to tell me your thoughts. That's what I want.
Maybe I missed it. What's the use?
Oh, so, I have.
If you want to come forward in the microphone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What sort
So
of-
I've got a large family. So I've got, it's myself, my fiance, and 6 kids. So we've got a lot of vehicles, we've got a lot of toys, we've got a lot of stuff. So that's why I'm trying to get larger than what the below 3 acres pole barn is, because we'll fill that up quickly. And as you can tell with my home, I'm pretty uber focused on how it looks, and my pole barn will be the same. And so I wanted to, if I'm gonna do the project, I wanna do it the right way.
So help me understand, I don't know that I see here on the diagram how you get to that with your vehicles.
Yeah, so
more
it's not on the
concrete.
diagram, but it's a great question. So the second line that's kind of on the side of the pole barn, if you look, you won't see it, but onto the left of it, there's I cleared out an entire drive that will go to the pole barn area, and I've already had the trees all cleared out too, because I had a batting cage there for my son that I had taken down. So that's all cleared out, so there's not gonna be really any woods removal or anything like that that's gonna need to happen beyond what's already happened.
So you'd access
build?
from your private drive?
Yeah, so the
Saying?
private
Okay.
drive will have
I-
my driveway, and then
Follow
right
that.
around the corner, it's like a big opening for like whatever the
Yeah.
private drive would be for,
In
my
front
pole
of
barn.
the house.
Directly in front of the pole barn, yeah. It would be a secondary access to the pole barn. So that way the vehicles can come across. I don't think it's on the prints though.
To the street.
This is the
Oh,
private
that's a
drive.
private drive.
Yeah, so you can see my drive in the print,
all on
but
his
you can't
property.
see the access that I opened up from the prints.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you want me to sit?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Any comments? Sanjita,
No.
comments?
Are you planning to have water and septic?
Yes.
Eat?
Mini split, so yes.
Yep, okay.
I was gonna do in ground peat flooring, but that's quite expensive. Let's do a mini split.
Just because you sat down, I want to make you stand back up. No, I'm just kidding. So just to confirm, we're saying the height will actually be 14 feet? Okay,
Yes.
got it.
And I did those drawings, I'm gonna have architectural drawings drawn up, but I wanted to get approval to essentially go through it before I, took the liberty of paying for architectural drawings.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, you all might recall that for accessory buildings, we measure the sidewall height. We don't
Right.
measure to like the
Right.
midpoint of the gable as we do with principal or main buildings. Just
And
one
it-
of those tweaks.
No, that's perfect.
Ordinance.
Thanks for clarifying, John. The other question I would have, so I think maybe, John, you said it, but, so it sounds like the plan is to try to match
Yeah.
the appearance?
Yeah, and when I said, as close as possible, it's just because I don't know if they have the exact same siding as I've got currently still at
Okay.
my house 10 years ago, but if they do, then it would be that vertical siding,
Okay,
with the exact
I have no concerns at all.
With that, we will open a public hearing. Mr. Baker doesn't have anything to say. All right, we will close the public hearing. So John, as staff, if I get this right, so you got 3 scenarios here. You don't have any objections to approval of the building with respect to height, location, and size, which I think we agree with. Will meet the applicable special land use site plan standards. Talk about lighting and whatnot. So we're not discussing particularly to match the house, then?
Well, that's a determination that needs to be made here. The applicant indicated that he's going to try to match the home as closely as possible.
So how would you want that worded for a motion, then?
If you all believe that the project, if you will, is matching the home, then you can vote on this as a site plan approval.
Okay.
The other thing you can do, if you wish, for efficiency, and if you're all comfortable, is you can combine your motions. Your motions can be combined. You can say, you know, a motion to, if you're deciding to approve this, you can do a motion to approve the site plan for for the accessory building to be partially in the front yard, and for the special use for the height and the special use for the area as a single motion.
And in that
Along with
site
the
plan,
condition of approval based on the findings of fact. We would just ask that be reflected as noted in this.
Yeah, I'd be good with that. Unless there's any objections from the commissioners. I nominate Mr. Cludian to make a motion.
He's already working it out.
Yeah, you're working.
No, I'm still,
Your Dan's back up.
that may very well be, I'm still a little, the fact that it's twice the size is, I don't know, I will get over that, but it's a particularly big building for, given what the maximum is allowed, but I'll get over that. Motion to,
I would say, I'm gonna comment on that a second. If it was a 1.5 acre lot, yes, but consider it's a 3.01 acre lot, and it's got the little easement gray area.
if this was a 2.99 acre lot, we wouldn't even have that argument.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
and we're doubling, and we're allowing this is double the size.
It is.
And so that's just got me hesitant.
Yeah.
So I nominate Justin to make the motion.
Do you want to talk through that more?
yeah.
I don't know that I do. I mean, no one else seemed to raise it as a concern, but it's notable to me. And I hear you, it's over 3, but it would be a much different argument if it was 2.99. And that's so silly. But thankfully it's 3.0, 3.01. Yeah. So I'll quit babbling. I will make a motion, I'm not sure I'm gonna get this right. So motion to approve the site plan review as relates to location. Motion, all is a single motion, for the special use around height and floor area to be approved, subject to the conditions stated by staff relating to exterior lighting.
And we can certainly clean it up when we do the minutes. I've warned Madeline that we try to make sure that things are reflected as intended in the minutes.
Did I miss that something was supposed to be done about
Well,
getting his compliance with it looking similar to the house?
he seconded. I was gonna ask if we wanted to have a friendly amendment to include something about the building materials, that it matches the characteristics and design, and however we have to wordsmith that to match the existing house.
Justin, can you make a new motion? I propose you make a new motion. Thank you.
Clearly they failed.
That's what I propose. Make a new motion.
Right, if it doesn't match, right.
So it's those 3 special uses.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got the notes, right? So I so moved as Steve said, and then add special that building construction material fair shall match the style characteristics of the existing home
To the best of the applicant's ability.
to the best of the applicant's ability.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
Unfinished business, we don't have anything. New business, nothing. John, commission member staff reports?
Yes, sir. First off, again, welcoming Maddie as well as Ms. Ghosh to the group. It's very nice to have you all on board. Thank you for that. A couple of comments and thoughts. First off, thank you all for your excellent review concerning the rezoning request, because that was a tough issue. And obviously, Mr. Feenstra was very committed, if you will, in his efforts to try to have this approved. But also, honestly, the comments from the commission and even the comments from Mr. Baker with various sections of the master plan, right?
So I think it's important to know the sections that Mr. Veenstra was citing was based on the neighborhood residential definition, which was based on a suggested future use, not the current use. So I think it's important for us as a planning commission, when we look at the master plan, is to be like, what does the current master plan state for this area? And then we should let a steering committee assess this when we look at the future use applications like this. But I do feel like I like that he cited the master plan. I do commend him for that, but it was definitely cherry picking a lot of stuff out.
Right. And so I think you all did an excellent job of kind of trying to walk through all of that and also ultimately get to intent.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, a lot of the applicants come in pretty well prepared, but when staff meets with them, do you give them like a, hey, this is what to expect, and when you get up there, share, A, B, C? Because it just felt like from the beginning, this was like, it was all defense.
He really jumped in a very, and you mentioned this as well, Justin, where he did not really explain his request. He just jumped into staff report said this, here's why that's whatever. So we don't really give them direct guidance, but Mr. Woods has been around, and frankly, Mr. Feenstra, I've not dealt with Mr. Feenstra before, but Mr. Woods has been around long enough.
Mr. Finch's, he's been here.
He's probably been here on
Yeah,
various things.
he's
So
been here.
generally speaking, these folks know and are familiar with procedures and process and these kinds of things. When we do meet with these folks, we do tell them what to expect from us. We do tell them about the challenges that we see. We do say, just so you know, we don't believe this will be supported, or we believe that this is problematic, here's why, et cetera, et cetera. So we do try to pre-screen, for lack of a better word, applicants to let them know that we either think, yes, this stands a reasonable chance, or it's similar to other ones that have been approved, and other ones where we say, we just don't believe that was approved. And to be honest, Mr. Woods said, well, I'm gonna try for it anyway. I just wanna see what I can do.
Right.
Okay, and you're entitled. You have the right to apply for something to change the ordinance, to allow a different use, or to rezone your property. You have a right to apply, even if we don't like it. You have that right. Anybody can come and do that, so I just appreciate the commission's
The way he was
consideration.
talking and citing Michigan state law and things like that, would you ever expect like a lawsuit where they would sue the township?
I have significant doubts that such a lawsuit, now I might defer to the attorneys in the room, Steve and Sangita, but I have significant doubts that, I mean, you can get sued for blinking your eyes, right?
Right.
Sure you can. But as far as the arguments and so forth, a lot of what I've seen, especially for zoning cases that have gone before a planning commission or a zoning board, there's really a lot of legitimacy given to the decision-making of a planning commission or a zoning board when they have basis for it, when they have, they can cite language in the master plan or in the zoning ordinance, they can cite land use patterns, they can cite all these types of things that are out there. A lot of times it seems to me, and what I've seen is that there's most legitimacy is given to planning commissions, zoning boards, and ultimately municipalities for their decision-making, as long as you're avoiding things being arbitrary and capricious. Well, what did we talk about? 2 months ago or a month ago, we had that request up off of, was it Honey Creek? Wherever it was.
Honey Creek and Knapp.
So you denied that one, you're denying this one. That's not arbitrary and capricious. Those are two situations
And
where,
we're following the law of the township.
yes, sir.
Period.
And you are. And so,
And we didn't deny this one.
I'm sorry,
And we didn't deny this one. We recommended.
you recommended denial to
Right.
the township.
They don't have- he can't
Correct,
have a
because
problem.
ultimately it's their decision, but,
Yeah.
so.
Another form to go.
But this is not a popularity contest either, right? So even if an applicant brings in 20 people that say, yeah, this is a good idea, yeah, this is great, it's not a popularity contest, it is about the law, and that's really what this comes down to. So whether people agree with where staff is at or where the commission is at or don't, ultimately, looking at process, looking at standards, looking at land use patterns and all of those things, to me, are important, so. Couple of other things, if I might. I had emailed everybody today about a potential joint meeting. Blaine responded, thank you, to try to do a joint meeting sometime in August with the township board, following up the December meeting where we talked about the next phases of the zoning ordinance, which Rob has been involved with. In fact, we've got a joint meeting, not a joint meeting, but a steering committee coming up, I think in mid-July, so we're
July
trying
13.
to move along on that route and get this thing across the finish line here, hopefully in the next 3-4 months. So just to make you aware of that. Couple of other notes. One fun thing, tomorrow night, Spears at the Bridge. Hope you all can be there. I did send out, just because we're hurting for volunteers, I typically would not do that, but I was asked to do it by Julius and by.
Anything wrong with that?
Okay, well, I appreciate that,
Don't
thank
help
you. I'll be volunteering, Margie and I, my wife and I will be volunteering, but hopefully we'll see you guys there, if you decide to go. Last thing I'll mention, June 19th and 20th, Thornapple River Drive, right up here at the river, is going to be closed because of the bridge. The pedestrian bridge will be delivered, coming down from Minnesota.
Wow.
In 3 parts, will be taken off with big cranes or something off the trucks or whatever. However, we have June 19th off for Juneteenth, right? I'm bringing a video camera.
Yeah, you better get us some pics.
I will, because, so this will be 3 pieces that will be brought off the trucks, set onto those concrete pillars that
An
you see.
aggressive timeline I read in your township report.
Right, and then put together, and then they will like pour the concrete decking on the bridge, and hopefully it'll be open by early July. But those 2 days, this road will be closed, so if you wanna go to points to the other side, either from that side or from this side, you might have to go like Altadale down to Cascade Road or whatever to get around. So very cool when it'll be done, but yeah. So that's where we're at.
Holiday weekend that weekend.
Yeah, so,
Right.
yeah, that's maybe helpful for keeping traffic down or not. I don't know. Anyway, so I just want to mention that to you, let your
Yeah.
neighbors know in case people start complaining about trying to go Thornapple River Drive one way or the other. That's all for staff.
You want us to share
Unless
your
Brent-
email when they complain about road
Yeah.
traffic and is that
Yeah.
what you're asking us?
Which email is that?
Brent.bajak at
Actually, speaking of traffic, we also will have new pedestrian, yield to pedestrian.
Saw that, you made the
signs.
news.
Made the news.
Yeah.
We'll be going in around downtown, so when you see that sign, those signs, any of those intersections, please yield to pedestrians or weird-looking planters on scooters.
No, they're not blinking. Yes,
Scooters. but-
people were annoyed by that, I tell ya.
Yeah, so,
It's always something to
So-
complain. I don't think they need to be blinking.
anything else, Maddie? No? Okay, thank you.
Because it was a good reminder for me, we are meeting earlier next month than we normally do. Oh, I
Well,
thought
that
you
was
said July
this, that was
13th.
That's
this
today.
month.
That's
I thought you
today.
said the next meeting next month is
Oh.
July 13th.
Oh, that's the steering
Township.
committee.
The township board, they moved it up to noon. I thought
Oh, the
that's
board
When's the
meeting.
next, this meeting?
Next planning
Regularly
commission
scheduled
meeting
July
is,
20th.
Like
I heard
20-ish.
that differently earlier.
we've just got,
Mistakenly on
we've
my
got
part.
meetings coming out of our ears, and
Right.
poor Maddie, she's new, and she's like, wait, what meeting is on which day? So she's trying to keep up
I've
with
got
it.
July 16 down.
Okay,
July
okay.
16, I believe.
I
is-
heard July 13th earlier and thought it was this meeting. I
No.
misheard.
That's the other
July-
meeting that John makes me go to.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
I don't have any responsibility.
Yeah, so the next planning
Come.
commission meeting is July 16th at 5:30 PM in this room.
Okay.
All right.
Back to the regular schedule. The reason this meeting was a week earlier was because we have Juneteenth next week, or next Friday.
Do we have the agenda for next month?
You'll be getting it tomorrow, sir.
I was gonna say, I haven't approved.
Because, no, you haven't, because today was the deadline.
Okay,
So we had to wait till technically kind of 5 PM.
right.
Okay.
Just because this is 5 weeks and it's normally 4. Okay, you're throwing me off. All right.
Real quick, I'm curious.
Yes, sir.
You guys may not know the answer, but I drive past it every day, so I'm gonna ask.
I was gonna ask you. I know what you're gonna ask.
Do you know what the plan is to repair the retaining wall at
Oh, man.
Honey Creek?
Where?
Pettis and Honey Creek?
What happened?
I saw it.
I have no
I was
idea.
actually in the truck right behind, or I was right behind the asphalt truck that did that, actually. I was literally right behind it.
Brand new,
Our
big,
retaining
huge
wall?
Yeah.
retaining
Yeah,
wall. They
he ended up-
just put in on the bike path.
His brakes must have gone out.
Full
and he
asphalt
He
truck.
rode the curb all the way down
Went
and then
right
jumped
through
off.
it. Took the whole yard out.
I am quite certain that our team is already aware of that and will be affecting repairs.
I'm sure they are.
It looks
How long?
terrible. That's why I was curious if that's.
Just, isn't that great? It was just.
Fortunately, nobody was hurt, which, my gosh, that was.
And the darn thing was just put in, what, last year or whatever?
Oh, that portion is months old.
Yeah, it's the brand new one. It's right by Dan's office on the.
Yeah,
corner.
right next to Dan's office.
Yeah.
I-
So I was just
Yeah.
curious if we knew what the timing was on that.
Sorry. Yeah, that's rough, but I'm sure our team is on it already. When did that happen?
Lane wants it fixed next week.
Yeah.
I think it was, what, a week ago, 2
Thank
weeks
you.
ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago maybe.
Yeah.
I had not heard about it before, but I'm sure they're
We're heading
headed
to the concert at the.
All right. We'll open up public comment. We will close public comment. And with that, take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Adjourned at 6:47.
No, he sat in the, so with the truck.
because they're in such a hurry to get out of here.
Actually,
they'll
it was
never
the
tell
asphalt
you who
truck
they
and
are.
motorcycle.
You could turn it off.